Good morning, Man United fans. Good morning, football lovers. Welcome to today's episode. Um, let's talk about the power of the man behind the scenes. Now, when we're talking about behind the scenes in football, we're talking about the backroom stars. Now, let's talk about this man, Steve Holland. When people talk about football success, they mention managers, star players, and trophies, but very few people talk about the architect in the shadows. Steve Holland is one of them. Now, let me start from Chelsea era. He was an assistant to Roberto Di Matteo in 2012. Steve Holland arrived at Chelsea at a critical time. The club was unstable, managers came and went, and pressure was relentless. Under Roberto Di Matteo, Holland wasn't just an assistant holding cones at training, he was deeply involved in training structures, defensive organizations, and match preparation, player to player communication. You understand? Di Matteo may have been the face, but Holland was part of the engine room that kept Chelsea tactically disciplined. He was the one that kept Chelsea tactically disciplined. Now, Champions League 2012, Holland was a silent influence. That legendary Champions League run didn't happen by luck alone. Holland helped. He helped maintain compact defensive block, prepare detailed opposition analysis, reinforce detailed opposition, you know, reinforce belief within a squad written off by Europe. Chelsea wasn't the best team technically, but they were mentally bulletproof. And and that comes from the coaching room. And after the season was over, 2012, staying through the changes, the Mourinho years. After Di Matteo, most assistants leave the club. Steve Holland stayed. That alone tells you his value. Under Jose Mourinho, Holland became one of the most trusted lieutenants in English football. His key impact was translating Mourinho's tactical ideas into training ground reality, acting as the bridge between players and the manager, managing squad morale during high pressure period, just like the one we found ourselves under Ruben Amorim. And Mourinho openly trusted Steve Holland. That alone tell you things. We all know who Mourinho is. During Chelsea 2014-2015 Premier League title, Holland was central to defensive shape, consistency, midfield discipline, match-to-match tactical tweaks, player development and management was one of his strengths. His greatest strength wasn't tactics alone. It was players like John Terry, Gary Cahill, and Cesar Azpilicueta. They all spoke about things that he brings to the team, instructions and confidence in preparation. That clarity often came from Holland's voice on the training pitch. That's the kind of person that he is. And by the time Steve Holland left Chelsea, he had survived multiple managerial changes, won major trophies, and elite level respect. Chelsea didn't just lose an assistant, they lose institutional knowledge. Now, let's go into this. When Gareth Southgate took over England, the FA didn't just want a manager, they wanted stability, intelligence, and trust. One of Southgate's very first and most important decision was bringing in Steve Holland. This wasn't a glamour appointment, it was a control room appointment. At England, Holland's role revolves even further. He became the tactical organizer, the training ground conductor, the voice reinforcing Southgate's idea when pressure mounted. Now, England's biggest issue for decades wasn't talent. We all know that. It was tournament mentality. Under Southgate and Holland, that changed. You know, from the World Cup 2018 semi-final to Euro 2020 final, World Cup 2022 quarter-final, England weren't just awful anymore. They were structured. England helped implement a flexible, Holland helped implement a flexible back three system, clear roles for fullback and midfielders, defensive solidity without killing attacking freedom. England players repeatedly spoke about clarity, knowing exactly what was expected of them. That clarity came from the training pitch, video rooms, and one-on-one sessions. Holland's domain. Man management in a national team setting. Let's go into that. International football is different. You don't have players every day. You don't have time for long philosophies. But Steve Holland's strength was simplifying complex ideas, creating trust quickly, managing egos without, confrontation, from Harry Kane to Bukayo Saka, from senior leaders to young stars. England felt united, not divided. And that doesn't happen by accident, you know. Now, let's move away from England now. Let's now move to Steve Holland and Michael Carrick. Steve Holland choosing to work with Michael Carrick tells you everything. Carrick is a young manager built on calm, authority, tactical intelligence, players respect, and Holland fits that profile perfectly. And Holland is helping shape Carrick the same way he once supported Di Matteo, Mourinho, and Southgate. The bigger picture here is he doesn't chase headlines. He doesn't undermine managers. He elevates them. You know, wherever he goes, teams become more organized, more mentally stable, more tactical, disciplined. Now, let me end it this way. Steve Holland may never be the headline name, but without men like him in the back room, many of football greatest nights would have never happened. Just like the Manchester Derby, just like the rivalry with Arsenal. We all know it ended at Emirates. Let me give you a clue at where I am heading to. Champions League final, Chelsea versus Bayern Munich. Here is the formation. Look at Ryan Bertrand. We all know Ryan Bertrand was a left back by trade. But look at his position here. Now, down to where we are today. Patrick Doku, a left back. Look at where he featured against Manchester Derby, against Manchester City, and look at his position against Arsenal, and he scored in both matches. We all remembered the role Bertrand played in that final. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Let's give kudos to who deserve it. Maximum respect, Steve Holland. See you guys next time.